Right? I mean, that was a political judgment by FDR about his own efficacy. Why does the word matter more than the agenda?
Because it is imperative for people to understand. Look, a lot of people are going to say a lot of good things. But for two reasons, I think the word democratic socialism is relevant. Because if you are serious about defeating Trump's authoritarianism, which, by the way, is an international phenomenon, you have to do what Roosevelt did and say, you know what, I am taking on the ruling class. And you remember, I mentioned this yesterday, and these people hate me, and I welcome their hatred. In other words, you cannot go forward unless we are prepared to take on incredibly powerful special interests. There is no shortcut around that. And second of all, when I use the word democratic socialism, what I mean is not that, hey, we've got to improve the healthcare system. I mean that economic rights are human rights. People are entitled to healthcare, to education, to a clean environment, to retirement security, to decent housing. This is not just some abstract idea. Freedom of speech is what America is about. I believe that economic rights must also be about what America is about. And by the way, you mentioned in your preface that Republicans are just chomping at the bits.
They say that. That's what they say. They say they're very excited about this, and that you're going to scare off people, and they would love nothing more than a run against socialism.
Let's take a look at some of the polls there. We're beating Trump in some cases by 10 points. But the point here is, it is absolutely early. I accept that. Okay. But the other point that I would make, Chris, is that we live in many respects in a socialist society today if the definition of that is massive federal aid to a certain group of people. Problem right now is you have, as Martin Luther King Jr. talked about, we got socialism for the rich, but rugged free enterprise for working people. We have to turn that around on its head.
You just said something, you talked a fair amount about sort of international authoritarianism as a sort of international force, and I thought about it a little bit in the context of what the president said yesterday about welcoming Russian help. I mean, first question is, what is your position? If you were offered help from a foreign government or foreign adversary, would you call the FBI? Is that your position?
It is illegal. So yes, I would.
And I guess my second question is, are you worried about that aspect in this campaign? We talked about at the top, it's not just Russia, but like the Saudis, for instance. You've been very outspoken about the U.S.-backed Saudi war in Yemen. The Saudis have tons of interest and a lot of investment in Donald Trump being the president of the United States. He's given them free reign. Is a live issue to you the fact that if Bernie Sanders were the nominee, like, the Saudis probably would like to see you defeated?
You think so? Yeah, I would agree with you. Look, here is what I think we should be very nervous about, above and beyond your legitimate concerns. And that is, we have a president who doesn't believe in the Constitution or doesn't understand the Constitution, thinks he is above the law. And I think that what we are likely to see, I hope I'm wrong, but we are likely to see is a president who will merge the agencies of the federal government and his position as president and combine that with his position as a candidate. And we should be very mindful of that. And I think we should all be watchful as to how he proceeds.
Well, I guess that's the question, is what to be done about it. I think you're right. I mean, that seems like a live issue. We saw today the letter from the Office of Special Counsel about Hatch Act violations, which is designed. Do you think that is? I mean, what I hear from you, do you think that's important? Actually, that's not just a trivial thing.
And it's not just Ms. Conway. It is. I don't think in his own mind he sees much different. He's a candidate. He's a president. What's the problem? Use all of the resources you can to win, in addition to the fact that he is a pathological liar and that he will have the backing of a lot of very, very wealthy people in this country, including his own personal wealth. So yeah, it is, in my view, a real issue of concern. But it comes down, let me respond and tell you what I think the antidote is. And the antidote is a strong, progressive message that says to the working people of this country and to the young people that now is the time, in this unprecedented moment in American history, for people to become involved in the political process. And I go back to the word democratic socialism. It's not the same old, same old.
Yeah.
We got to stand up, we got to fight back, and we have to beat oligarchy, and we have to defeat authoritarianism and Donald Trump as well.
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders, who's a senator from Vermont, 2020 presidential candidate, who will be on that debate stage one of the 2 nights, 13 days from now. Thanks for making time.
Thank you.
That is all.
Feel the burn, baby. Sanders Bernie.
Right now, good evening, Rachel.
That was a super smart, super interesting interview, and you asked him totally different things than he ever gets asked, and that was great.
I feel like we're all
Rachel Maddow, Northampton, Mass.
Conversation of my nightmares about like capitalism versus socialism, with like no actual historical grounding in the literature of the central question of political economy in the West for 200 years. So it's nice to be able to do something about that. So.
Because I know you, Chris. I know you have that exact phrase tattooed on your back, and so I know this is a long, ongoing nightmare for you. But you translated it well into tonight's interview. Thanks. And thanks to Hill for joining us this hour. There is a lot going on in the news right now. This is one of those days, almost feels like a Friday. So after the president last
NBA Finals Game 6. Let's go. Toronto.